So I want to start off by asking you about the weather. And right now, the U.S. is experiencing a massive, highly unusual deep freeze. Is this due to climate change, do you think?
Well, these events become more likely because of climate change, because the normal wind patterns are broken down. And so a cold front can go further south more often than we would expect. So yeah, the extreme events are coming more often and with more force, including hurricanes, than before we started warming the Earth.
This recent storm has caused massive power outages in Texas, and the state's governor, Greg Abbott, blamed frozen wind turbines and said it shows the Green New Deal would, quote, be a deadly deal for the United States. How would you respond to that, Bill?
Well, in terms of the current situation, he's actually wrong. The wind turbines, you can make sure they can deal with the cold. It probably wasn't anticipated for the wind turbines that far south. But, the ones up in Iowa and North Dakota do have the ability to not freeze up. Actually, the main capacity that's gone out in Texas is not the wind. It's actually some of the natural gas plants that were also not ready for these supercold temperatures. So even though, viewing this as an attack on renewable energy is, in this case, is wrong. In fact, the point he's making, which is that as you rely more and more on wind and solar, that reliability will be a challenge. And you'll need three things to maintain reliability while driving renewables over 80%. One is more transmission. So we have an open source model. We're going to show that if Texas had slightly more interconnection, they wouldn't have had a problem. The second is energy storage. Still hard to store these amounts of energy. And finally, sources of energy that aren't weather dependent but are green, like nuclear. And so those three will be an important part of the zero emission electricity system.